We have the fourth discussion here on the Unplugged stage. For once, the name of the business is pretty much what the idea of the business is, which makes it quite easy. We have Michele Matt here, founder and chairman of MyCamper, a venture, a business where you say yourself, you made a business out of your hobby. And I think it all started in Sardinia. Maybe you can just take us back to the early days, early stages of the company and how the idea was created and what exactly you do with MyCamper. You have the 1 minute pitch, go.
Probably it takes a little bit longer than 1 minute.
Worries.
If
we have time. We have time.
All right. Thanks for being here first. Very happy to be here and talk a little bit about MyCamper. Exactly, so MyCamper started back in 2014. That summer, my girlfriend and I spent our summer holidays in our bus called Charlie, or at that time it was Charlie. We spent our summer holidays on Sardinia, and I was really looking for a business idea, but many months already before, and even years at the university. I wanted to get self-employed and build up my own company, but there was always the idea missing. And during summer 14, it was like a really nice summer evening. We were sitting in front of our bus, talking in Germany, say, about Gott and die Welt, so about everything. And it was the first time we realized that our Charlie was standing around really a lot of time. Because we always thought we use it a lot, so almost every weekend we spent with our Volkswagen, with Charlie. We spent all the 5 weeks that we had in the bus. But when you count that on the year, it's less than 20%. Yeah. And we thought it's really a pity. It was at that time more or less a new car. And
that's probably the normal thing, right? With
exactly. It's not only the case for Charlie, it was the case for all. In Switzerland, there are about 100,000 of these leisure vehicles. And like that, the idea evolved, and we thought, let's free the campers, let's get them back on the roads and build up a sharing platform. Yeah.
So it's a leading sharing platform for campers, for small buses as well. Many things to take out of that already. When you said that, you were looking, almost desperately looking for an idea. When I talk to startup founders, that comes up a lot. That I wanted to do something. I had that almost intrinsic wish to create something, to found something. So with you, it was the same thing. During university already, you knew, okay, I do have that founder DNA, or how can we imagine that?
Yeah, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. So my granddad, for example, founded the Lippo, this furniture company in Switzerland, and my dad also founded his own company. And later on, my mom took over another company of my granddad. So
you had no other choice.
I didn't feel any pressure, but it was really interesting for me. So this kind of creativity that you can live, come up with new ideas at lunch or at dinner table when they were talking about new marketing and sales campaigns, or where we should open a new shop. So all these discussions were really inspiring for me to do kind of your own thing, to be free and to do with your own time what you want to do with this time. Yeah. And afterwards, after university, I actually went to Credit Suisse into a trainee program, and I stayed some more years, and there I really realized I'm not the corporate guy. Yeah. So I really want to do something that is meaningful for me, where I can organize my time by myself and not by the organization or by a boss. And this kind of freedom, independence feeling. So these were really the 3 key drivers for me to create something. Yeah.
So in hindsight, not staying with Credit Suisse was probably a right decision in many ways. But on the other hand, you're a finance guy, so you come from a finance background. How much did that help you in creating a new business, a new venture, a startup to already know how finance works?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay.
But it was really not a big part, I would say.
Yeah.
Because, I learned, I think most of it I learned at university, as I have a business master. And even more than that, I learned by doing it.
Yeah.
At the end, it was like that.
Yeah.
So
By doing mistakes as well, I guess?
as well,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
How many did you do?
I didn't count them, but many probably, yeah. So but I had good mentors and coaches as well, and this was really valuable for me as well. That sometimes they took me on the hand and then showed me how to do it. Especially for example, with a financing round, I never led a financing round. How do you conduct a financing round and stuff like that? I had really good people around helping me, coaching me. Yeah.
It's funny that you say that, because we had Tobias Gunzenhauser here, first talk of Yoma, and he said, looking back, he probably started too late getting mentorship or getting coaches on board. Yeah. So with you, I reckon that happened from the beginning. So you knew from the beginning, I need some coaching. Yeah,
true. And maybe it's also true because I didn't have a team.
Okay.
So I had the idea, but I didn't have a team. And I had to first build up my team. But this team was not like a proper co-founder team, I would say it so. Because it was like Miriam that helped me from day one. Yeah. But Miriam was not a co-founder in the beginning. So the first 3 years she was an internship that she did at MyCamper and supporting me with MyCamper. Later on, Stefan, that is now leading the company as our CEO, he came in as an external. So in the beginning, he had his own marketing agency, and he said like, I can do the Google ads and all these paid channels for you guys. And I was really relieved and happy because I was not so good in this area. And later on, I asked him if he would like to fully go in with me in 2018, so 3 years later after we founded. So they are both like late co-founders. Yeah. And I had this need from the beginning to get coached, and there were different coaches on the way.
Okay. Yeah. When you talk about the business being more or less your hobby, or what led to the business was your hobby, meaning also your passion. And with a team at MyCamper, they all believe in the idea. They all believe in camping, in their hobby. Does that make it easier to found a company, or are you almost too close to the topic? Would it sometimes be easier to have a little bit more distance to what you do?
Yes and no, I think. I think it makes it easier, as for example, dentist or something that is totally, let's say, unpassionate, or where you cannot connect it with so many emotions, like holidays, being out in nature. Makes it also, for example, easier for marketing, when you can, let's say, play with emotions. On the other hand, I think you're right, sometimes it's hard to make this cut between business and hobby and private.
Okay, well, things. That's a common theme here.
Exactly,
as well.
And this is maybe more on a personal level than on a team level.
Yeah. Speaking of that team, and you alluded to it yourself, you're the founder of the company. You were leading the company, and now you have a CEO. So you gave away that part. Yeah. You're the chairman. Yeah. What idea was behind that move? Was it that you felt, I have to take a step back, or I have to fulfill another role, or how did that come along?
Yeah, no, it's sometimes actually, because I always had this double role, CEO and chairman, and sometimes it felt a little bit lonely to make the final decision. I always had my people around as counterparts. I could discuss topics, but I always knew I had to make the decision. And this was kind of over the years quite a pressure on my shoulders that I felt. And but why I stepped back was actually at the end. I mean, this is probably as well a little bit a reason, but the two main reasons were, one was my second daughter was born in this year, and I knew I wanted to do it different than how I did it with my first daughter.
Yeah.
She grew. She was born in 17, and I mentioned before in 18 we went fully in, and it was really an intense time. Each year we had a next financing round. 1 year we took over another company. So a lot was on my shoulders, and I would say I had enough time for her, let's say, to be on the playgrounds and spend time with her physically, but mentally I was often absent.
Okay.
And this, I'm really bad in that, in making this cut.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to change something, otherwise I would just want that I do something different, but it's going to be the same again with the second one. And the second reason, I realized that my job doesn't fulfill me so much anymore. So many parts that my role became was not something that I enjoyed.
Okay.
For example, leading a team of more than 20 people, all these formal processes that we had to build up. I realized I'm not the manager.
Yeah.
I had so much more fun to build something from the idea with a small team of maybe 7, 8, 9 people, where you can lead very informal, and to see if the market accepts it or not, and to change things. This was much more exciting for me than later on to optimize.
Day-to-day business, or
exactly.
So it wasn't hard to let go.
No, it was really not hard for me. Yeah.
It just struck me what you said about the being it being difficult to kind of set boundaries or not being too much into the work. Everyone said that here on that stage.
Okay.
Do you think that's a topic that's not often talked about, or not often enough talked about when we talk about startup, and how how much it really occupies you and your time, and how difficult it is to kind of almost distance yourself from what you're doing?
Not sure if it's not enough talked about, if this is the reason. I think it's something that is just super hard to do it, to execute it, and afterwards, I don't know, it's maybe a characteristic topic as well. Some people can really do it well, and other ones struggle more, that their brain and thinking comes back to the business again, and they really need tools to stop that process. And I think I'm more this kind of person, and probably also all the emotions. Often you hear your startup is your baby and stuff like that. So it's a lot about, you're very much emotionally involved in the topic. Also existential-wise. So for me, I never took a big salary out of the company. So yeah, for me it was always very important that it works out at the end. So yeah. Maybe just to add, sorry, sometimes it felt a little bit to write a second master thesis, but you can never click on the save button. Okay. So it's a lot lot of work, years of work in it, but it's never safe because it's so unsafe. Yeah, because I wouldn't say from the day to the next day can just go bankrupt, but it's very volatile to build it up.
And there are risks involved, and there are setbacks, there are lows, there are challenges that you can't really train for. And we talked on the phone before today, and you said that let's talk about that as well. It's not always fantastic, and it's not always great, and things go wrong sometimes. How do you deal with these difficult aspects of having a startup?
Yeah, very good point. For us, we had many of these points, but one that really stuck with me was COVID, so the Corona crisis, because we were in a financing round at that time when the lockdown came in Switzerland, and we lost the lead investor, and it was very important. We planned already with this capital, and we had like hundreds of cancellations, and we wanted to be what do you call it, coulant, kind of give the money back to the people that hopefully they come back again afterwards. When you can do camping holidays again. So there I really had, I think, one of my worst week in MyCamper. And we
Meaning
had
sleepless nights?
Sleepless nights, not knowing how we maybe survive through this time. And we kind of planned with scenarios. And the worst one was like we had to let go the whole team, put the 3 founders on a Kurzarbeit, short-term.
Short work. Yeah.
Short work, exactly. And kind of sail through the storm and put the company in a sleep mode, more or less. Yeah. And that we don't have any costs. And when things get better, we can like wake up.
Revitalize
this company. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But fortunately, this did not happen. We only lost the lead investor. The other ones stay committed.
Who are these investors?
There was, for example, a family office from Germany that invested in that round, and the one that we lost was a corporate from Switzerland, so a strategic investor. And they said, like, we don't know what the impact is on our core business, and at the moment, all investments are on hold.
Okay. Yeah.
So we don't make any deals at the moment.
Is it hard not to get frustrated or angry or thinking, oh, it's all about us, or maybe they don't like us, or take it too personally? This was sometimes hard for me. Yeah. Especially not about the personal aspect, more to deal with the frustration. Yeah. And how did you deal with it?
Go out jogging for an hour in the woods, it's really somewhere you had to let out this energy or this frustration.
Speaking about frustration, because that question came today as well. How do you tackle the whole question of getting investment on board, finding the right investor, always finding funds? How time consuming is it for you? How much of a hassle is it actually?
For us, it was a big hassle, and I think not even one investment round. I think we had 5 or 6 so far. Was like really straightforward.
Oh, really?
And that you could say, hey, in let's say 3 to 4 or 5 months, it's over, it's done. Mostly took 6 or even 7 or 8 months, so they took longer. And we had in like all the first 3 investment rounds, we lost our lead investor.
Yeah.
And so this was something I should have learned after another. But it was still always hard to experience it at the end. Yeah. And I think the most tricky one was the first one, because I was not experienced, how this works, the dynamics, who to ask, how to pitch. A mentor and a coach helped me a lot. The co-founder of Eat.ch that built up, Lucas, and he also opened up his network, so this was very helpful. So he often opened the door, and I could pitch in his network. Like that, we won some of the first investors. But I mean, nowadays there are many. It's quite of common known who are a little bit the investors in Switzerland. The business angels. There are business angel networks. SIGTIC is also here represented today. You have to look into the top 100 startup magazine. There you also find a lot of business angels from Switzerland. So you find them nowadays. But I think what is maybe not so common is how the whole process looks like, or if you
plus how to deal with them, because some can be very demanding. Someone wants something back. Some might want to have something to say or have some responsibility. How do you put your boundaries there, that that you don't over kind of give your company over to someone?
I heard a very good advice this morning from a lawyer. He said, what helps you if you're not that experienced is you can always argue with, this is not standard.
Okay.
This is really by far not standard what you're asking for. Yeah. And I thought it's a very good advice. I never used it or applied it, or a little bit we used it. sometimes hard if the other side then says, no, this is standard, but if you have good lawyers on your side that are very experienced, they support you as well in these negotiations. So this is helpful to get really a good lawyer on board that is experienced with the startup topics, not just let's call it general lawyer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, all those things you had to learn by doing, right? And one thing which is important in that field is being able to say no. Did you have to learn to say no sometimes?
You mean generally, or
generally, but also when both. I mean, you have to say no to your team. You have to say no to probably people you like, but also to investors.
Yeah, exactly. I think the hardest time I had to say no to our clients or our users, or to find there a good solution, because we had the two-sided marketplace with renters and camper owners, and when they got into discussions because of of an issue that appeared, to find there a good solution, I always felt a little bit like in between. I would like to do it right for both parties. And with this, I often struggled. This was difficult for me. It was less yes and no, but to find the balance. And with saying no in general, yes, that's not my strength.
Okay. Before I open up the discussion, it goes into that point of maybe saying no or the big challenges. I know business-wise, insurance was a huge challenge for you.
Yeah.
What else would you say were things that you didn't expect it to be so hard?
I would say the financing rounds were still really time-consuming, had a high frustration potential. They really consumed a lot of energy from my side. The internationalization was harder than I imagined in the beginning.
Very big in Scandinavia, has to be said.
Exactly.
Second market,
now we are in the 4 Scandinavian market plus Switzerland, and now since April in Austria and Germany. But they are the 2 new markets, and so this was more complex than I thought it would be. Just to give you an example, I thought when our platform had is flexible regarding the VAT or regarding the currencies, the language, etc. We can open up a new country and we can reflect their needs. But the reality looked different. For example, in Sweden, you have like this bank ID, what people use when they buy online. So they just type in their bank ID, and all the data linked to them, the personal data, can be, how do you call it? Can be... from a database are kind of played in, so they don't have to enter like name, email address, etc. So if you don't offer these, it's already like, whoa, what kind of platform is this? It gives a bad feeling for them. And if you don't know this as a, let's say, foreigner, these are hurdles, or they can really block your success in this market. So small things, and I thought we are culturally wise very close, for example, Sweden and Switzerland, but there are differences.
One thing you said is something that you underestimated was automation. Does that go into that category?
Yeah, as well, but there, for example, much more in internal process, for example, like the accounting topic for us.
So that will be a key takeaway. Are there any questions or comments or... I thought you were raising your hand. Now you have to ask. Okay, we'll just go on. And there's one. Let's take the headphones.
Maybe if you give a tip to us, young people, what would you give us as a tip? I don't know how we call it tip in English.
An advice.
An advice, exactly,
Regarding funding, when you found a company.
Exactly, and starting one.
Yeah. Okay. For me, a very valuable tip was to test before you go out and before you invest, let's say, half a year in a product or in a solution. Test it in a lean way. So this MVP approach, lean startup approach, this was for me something that was super valuable to do it in this way. So it forces you to be very focused, and you get like a lot of valuable feedbacks from your clients early on already, and so you can always iteratively improve your product or your service. So I would say this is really important in the beginning. Get a good team, and with a good team I mean it like complement regarding the terms of skills, values. This is very important. For example, we never had a techie, a CTO in our team, and until we had one, we got constantly criticized from investors that we need that. We have a too high dependency on an agency, an external web agency. And and I think that the third is keep your finance under control. I think so. Team test it in a lean way, and then keep the finance right.
3 good advice. Any more questions? Yes.
Yes, thank you for sharing your insights. I know you mentioned you're not the CEO anymore, but maybe you can give us the insight about the next steps, about the midterm strategy and so on of MyCamper.
Sure. So currently our main focus is on the 2 new markets, so on Austria and Germany, where we really set the focus, and of course not losing the focus on the existing markets. And another big topic that we are currently working out is the AI strategy. So we already started working with AI, with a chat on the platform, with, for example, also regarding the fraud topic, or we have a chat functionality on the marketplace where they can talk with each other, and so punctually wise we have it already, but it's not like a strategy behind. And this is, for example, something that we are working currently, investing a lot of time in it, to get that right, because we think in the mid and long term this really matters a lot, and you can get a USP there if you're fit. And I think there is a big necessity to be fit on this topic.
How about other international markets? I camped through the USA once, so that would be a huge market. No? Can you see MyCamper going really worldwide?
No, to be honest, no. I see MyCamper more as what was always my vision was kind of like to be among the top 3 players in Europe. This was always what I was striving for when I kind of like had this image in my head. The US has already 2 big players, and they are much better funded than we are. And I think it's just, it's a waste of time, capital, if we would compete in their home market against them. I think there are other countries and markets still where we can go in than the USA, for example, the United States. But what we think about these markets, we had some ideas to, for example, there are big commercial camper fleets like Apollo and all different companies that offer them, to integrate them on our platform, that, for example, a person from Sweden, Switzerland or Norway, whatever, the markets that we are in, that they can still book a camper in Australia or New Zealand on MyCamper, but it would be less the sharing approach, more than that you get there a commercial owned camper vehicle.
Interesting. Oh, yes, please. Now you came up with a question.
It's related. So are you not getting pressure from your investors to go into too many new markets? I mean, how are you kind of bridging that gap?
Yeah. Very good question, because we get that pressure. And we have these discussions. Especially from the ones that are very ambitious, and but actually how I push back there, or I'm not the one that wants, let's call it, to build something small. So I have the ambition to get bigger and grow and tackle new markets. But I'm not the guy that says, we now have to open up MyCamper in 5 new markets, next year in 10 new markets. and so on. Because and how I push it back is often, okay, if we would follow your strategy, would you also be committed to invest? I mean, this cannot be done with our current team, needs a lot of capital, and then often, they are a little bit more silent than when they just scream for do this and be faster there and do that, and at the end it needs to be handled. Otherwise, and I also understand their perspective. You're one investment of maybe 20 or 30, and they push all of them to maybe get a unicorn or whatsoever. But for me, it's kind of my investment that it's all I have. I don't have like 20 other ones, and I really, I need to how do you say?
So it's a tricky balance, no?
And accept calculated risks and not like the ones that I cannot calculate.
Maybe time for one last question? Yes, please.
Yes, a related question to this topic. Often startups has an exit strategy by selling their company, but as I feel you have an exit strategy to go out with these investors and be how we say, without investors.
Independent. In a way, yeah. Do you have an exit strategy where you see, I don't know, selling? Or do you feel like your exit strategy would be more in the line of let's get rid of the investors and maybe be autonomous?
No, actually we have more still the classic exit strategy to maybe sell it once. And but I could imagine the other way around as well. If we get like let's say a profitable company where it's possible to play this game, because that somewhere I need this capital to get in first that I can pay them back. But we still have the classical way of maybe one selling the company. But there we face the challenge. There is, for example, one company, a camper sharing platform, an Australian player that did an IPO 3 years ago, and their share price suffered a lot last year, and we get often then compared to this company that is listed, because there you get all the information. It's very transparent. You can apply these multiples to our company, and at the moment it's not too interesting for us to do actively going out and exit.
Maybe time for one last question. Otherwise, I have one. Sometimes if you make your hobby your job, sometimes you lose interest in your hobby. Are you still camping, or do you have so much to do with all the camping that now you don't want to do it in your spare time? Yeah, exactly.
No, I had that feeling a bit. So, or maybe I can also talk about that. I had a burnout in 2021, and at that time, I really lost to enjoy it, but I actually lost to enjoy a lot. Not only camping, work was not joyful for me anymore. Leisure time was not joyful for me, and also the camper business was like, I saw it. But nowadays, no, I really enjoy it a lot. We just bought in March a new caravan. It's the first time that we have a caravan. Before we always had a camper, but now we use a caravan to go camping with the family. Yeah.
Okay. Since you talked about it, I just have to ask one more question. So how did you? I mean, we're all at risk of doing too much and getting to that point where we see, now I overdid it. How did you overcome it, and how would you what kind of advice would you give to people who are at risk maybe of having a burnout as well?
Yeah, I took myself completely out. So I really, for 2.5 months, I took myself completely out. I was looking for professional help, so a psychologist, and I went all through these therapies, and they were really helpful for me. And I think it had a lot to do with my characteristics, with believing sentences that you have within yourself. yeah, how do you say it? How you tick? Yeah, and depending on that, maybe you're a bit more at risk regarding a burnout, or maybe not, because of maybe you're not a perfectionist.
Yeah.
They are, for example, as well a risk category, or if you are this kind of person. And for me, nature helped me a lot. So to be out in nature, do sport, to the tools that helped me to stop that thought carousel. Or
Okay, yeah, the constant kind of
exactly.
thinking process, right?
And this I struggled when I have faced a problem and I did not yet have the solution.
Okay.
This really could keep me nights awake, or maybe not the whole night, but I often waked up at 2 or 3 in the night, and then it started and started and started. Couldn't sleep anymore. So I needed really like tools to help me to deal better with these situations.
Yeah.
Or for example, when I did home office, to make a cut, to not just shut down my laptop and being ready for the family and jump from this kind of mindset into the family mindset. It's sometimes to just quickly go out.
Yeah.
Not long, 50 minutes for a walk and then come back. These small things and a lot of small things helped me to deal better with the situation.
Thank you very much for your honesty and for all the insights, Michele Matt. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
Merci.
for being here.
Danke vielmals.